Hey guys, looking at the legendary Soldano 100, the SLO100 today. I'm gonna go through all the knobs and buttons and just really, tweak them so you can hear what it sounds like. An amazing legendary amp, of course, used by thousands and thousands of stunning players, people like Eric Clapton, Eddie Van Halen, Gary Moore, like the list just goes on and on. Mark Knopfler, it's just ridiculous when the world's best players are all choosing this particular amp. They're doing something right, and to get it right from day one has just been something amazing. They've done a couple of little minor tweaks over the years. So basically Mike stepped back from the company, Mike Soldano, I'm going to say about 12, maybe 18 months ago now. And they've resourced some new transformers and they've redone the effects loop to run at negative 10 dB and be a bit friendlier with some pedals. This one here is definitely an 80s monster. This is an original Soldano in 1989, so it's running at line level in the effects loop. A lot of people have not been friendly about that. But I don't mind it. You work with it, you can make it happen. And certainly with all of the gear that we have nowadays, things like your X-Effects and all of that stuff running at line level, it's easy to sort out, so it doesn't bother me in the slightest. But anyway, we're not going to use any effects today. We're just going to look at the amp. Managed to land this from Japan, so it's running at 100 volts and it is absolutely spotless. Like, this could have been made yesterday. There is not a mark on it anywhere, like not even a mark around the plug where you might miss when you're trying to jam your cable in. I mean, it's just perfect. It is as new. Absolutely amazing. So really, really lucky and pretty much as close to an original SLO that we'll ever see. As in original condition and all of that stuff. So basically we've got sort of two and a half channels. We've got channel 1, which is the normal, and it's either a crunch or a clean, so you can't do both. Then we have a overdrive, which is the lead channel, the famous lead channel that everyone knows. And so what you would do is switch from the overdrive to the normal, which you would set at a crunchy sound, or overdrive and a clean. So you can't do crunch, clean and overdrive. Can't get 3 channels out of it. Not that I know how to do that anyway. So look, we're going to have a look at all 3 channels. We might start with the clean just because it's the clean. And everything's set at sort of 12 o'clock just to give us a bit of a starting point. Push the volume right up, the gain. A little bit of breakup happening there. Volume is on about 5. Now, these amps really come to life when you push them loud, pretty much like a lot of 100-watt amps. Unfortunately, Bogners and Marshalls and all of that stuff really rely on moving a lot of air, and it's really difficult to mimic that in an impulse response, and you certainly don't get the power tubes really working hard and some power tube distortion unless you just turn the thing up really loud. And when you do, when this thing hits about 6 on the master volume, yes, it will kill everyone within a 6-foot radius, but everyone outside of that radius will just be astounded at the sound. It really is something else. So look, we'll turn it up to about 7. And hopefully you might hear that just sort of take off there. And that's the crunch. Crunch is running, sorry, that's flat out. So let's go back to 12 o'clock. What else have we got? Let's have a look. Bass. Bass gets really full on after about 6 or 7. So look, I'll turn it up to about 8. And we'll go down to about 2. Unlike some boutique amps in the sort of the 90s, most recently in the sort of the last 10 or 15 years, where they're very set in their frequency range, and basically take it or leave it. You know, the knobs don't do a lot. These knobs are very interactive. You really do get some significant change here. Soldano is really known for its mids. So that's mids on about 9, and if we scoot the mids, let's go down to about 2. You can hear it's still got some mids in there, so it probably does have a little bit of you know, predefined EQ in there. Then we've got the treble. Look, like any loud amp, treble can be where the danger is. You turn the treble up and you will damage your hearing, so this one's no exception. And we'll turn the treble right down. So that definitely does have a noticeable difference there. We've turned the volume up. Presence is on about 5, so we'll turn it right down. Sounds a little bit, it feels a little bit like a Marshall to me, in that, you know, the presence maybe doesn't quite do too much, but so the presence for me sort of feels a little bit like the sort of the icing on the cake. You know, sort out your EQ and then just add in a little bit of presence to lift it. That's my approach anyway. What else we got? We've got the bright channel. So we're on normal at the moment. Definitely feels like a tiny little bit of gain coming in there as well, and it's certainly more noticeable on the clean. So look, we'll go back to the normal. Anyway, what we are all here for is, of course, is the legendary lead channel. So that's the overdrive channel. As you can see, gains on about 5, probably 6 or 7 will do it. I mean, this is already pretty over the top, but let's see what it does then. So obviously getting a lot more hum and buzz with more gain, but yeah, it's just incredible, really well defined, beautiful enormity to the sound. It's probably one of the best overdrive channels out there in the market. Bass, middle and treble you've heard. Like I said, bass gets pretty full on after about 6 or 7 on this particular. Now volume again 6 or 7, and it just opens up into something else. more volume, bit more gain, you're always going to get some noise. Presence. So my preferred settings are, look, we'll run the volumes about 5 or so. I would turn it up to 6 or 7 if I could, but it just kills everything and everyone around it. Bass will back off a bit, overdrive, yep. So that's sort of my settings that I initially like the sound of. Overdrive's probably about 6, just a little bit higher, and normal I would definitely crank right up. So the normal channel with gain at about 11 definitely starts to drift into the overdrive channel sorts of levels of gain, and then when you get into the overdrive, it's, you know, it's like a jetpack. It just really takes off and takes it to another level. So 11, round about 6, bass probably around about 6, just a tiny bit of the mids out, about 4, treble about 4 or so, but that'll be controlled a lot by the amount of presence. And then your volumes, you know, depends on the venue you're playing and how many people you want to kill. So there we go. That is a 1989 Soldano Super Lead Overdrive 100. Cheers.